Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Frank. I'm here with my main man, Dex, and we're from PulseWaveTrading.com. Good morning, Dex. Can you tell him a little?
What it do?
Can you tell him a little high octane today?
Yeah, man. I love
I'm
it.
excited,
I love it,
man. I'm
That's
excited.
What's up.
So this is our Wednesday hangout. Welcome, everybody. We've been doing these hangouts a few times a week. Usually, we're just doing live trading, which we are going to do right now. But in just a few minutes, we've got our friend John Singleton. Many of you have heard of him. It goes by Mr. X sometimes, but John's got a great new website that he's going to show us. But we're going to talk about a bunch of things because I've known John for a while. He's a fascinating guy, very, very interesting cat, and he is an expert, and he's known for this on helping people become uncollectible. That's a term he uses a lot. So whether it's the IRS or a creditor trying to garnish your wages, he knows how to prevent stuff like that. Stuff that you wouldn't think is preventable. But he goes beyond that, helping people increase their income. So he's going to be on, but he's also going to be talking about fasting and the snake diet and how people are using it to not only lose, 100 pounds and crazy stuff like that, but also people are shrinking tumors. People are doing crazy stuff with fasting protocols. So John's smart guy, fascinating guy. We're going to talk about all that with him in just a few minutes. But before we do, of course, we're going to take a look at a couple markets and get ready. So I'm just going to share my screen. And Dex, of course, if you want to share and look at anything, let me know and I'll get out of your way.
I think I've done enough sharing for the morning.
Yeah, you already did your live show, right?
I did the pre-market pulse scan, and we actually did look at a Tesla chart, and I gave a extended analysis of that. If anybody missed that, I strongly recommend you go take a look at today's pre-market pulse scan.
Yeah, check it out.
We go there. We get into it. Yeah. Hey, what chart is that you got up there, man?
This is Bitcoin, of course. I don't care when you did it. People are still going to say, "Did you look at Bitcoin yet?" Doesn't matter what we're talking about. we'll be talking about fasting with John, and someone's going to come in the comments and be like, "Will fasting help Bitcoin go up?" They'll be like, "If I fast, will my Bitcoin love me more?" Yes, it will.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
So here's Bitcoin, 94, pushing 95 today. Which is interesting. It's any thoughts on a Bitcoin Dex?
Yep, the same thoughts I had yesterday.
Yeah,
we have
look at that daily.
We had an initial. Well, yes, last night's end of day report. Okay, it is what it is. We had an initial crash alert come, and then we had a secondary crash alert, and we have not moved lower yet. All right. And, these alerts move 3 to 5 days out. And I said to look for intraday price inflection points to know if we're going to get long or short on an intraday. And right now, we are standing on the sidelines, except for those that are still long, that have been using conservative stops that haven't got stopped out. You're still riding this movement. What I would strongly suggest you do is to keep those stops in place, because like I told you, when these reversals come, they tend to come fast and furious and without warning. All right, now you have been warned. All right, you got an initial crash alert on January 31st. You got a secondary crash alert last night. Okay, has not manifested yet. So you need to watch this, because it is a possibility that the market could be getting ready to top out. I did say that. All right. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You've been warned. You've been educated. So there's no excuse to say you didn't know, or I didn't tell you, or what have you. All right. Use those. Use those stop losses and do what you're supposed to do. Handle your business.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, one more I want to look at. Very helpful, Dex. Ada, this is our free price trigger trade of the week. And it's moving, man. I think we got in. Let me see. Where was our trigger? Let me pull it up. I posted this last night for those of you in our free price trigger trade chat room. Yeah, our trigger was 618. which is right down. Dex, look at this. This is, let me pull up the daily here. Okay, this is the daily. So Dex, we talk about daily bars. 618 is right here. This is our price trigger, and you could see where we are right now. So
yeah, you're catching the whole daily bar. Basically.
And here's the thing: the demo this week was on KuCoin with the margin trading. So the profit on a trade like that it's ludicrous. I mean, the first trade we did this week on ADA, I made something like 30% on the account I was trading. So that actually, believe it or not, Dex, that made me nervous. Usually I do the free trade videos at night, but with the margin trading, it's 10x trading. I basically said, I'm not doing these videos at night anymore. I'm posting the price trigger at night for those of you who are crazy, but I'm going to be doing those margin trade videos early in the morning. This morning I missed it, but if you're in the trade, I posted a great stop loss for you to lock in profits. And the cool thing with this margin trading is you lock in stupid profits, So definitely check those videos out.
You want to know where it's going? Would you like some quick analysis on it? Would you like to know where it's going?
Yes, I would. Yeah.
Would you really like to know how high it's going to go?
I want to know. I want to know the exact top, Dex.
Okay. See the bottom of the Kumo cloud there on your right hand side on the right chart. The chart on the right.
Yeah, that's
that
the
weekly chart. That's where you're going.
Hold on. You're like, see that weekly chart? So I highlight the daily.
That's
chart.
where you're going.
Wow. Yeah.
Bottom of the Kumo cloud. Yeah.
All right, folks. So we're gonna. It's Wednesday. We've got at least 2 more days of reports, and then I'll continue to follow the trade into the weekend if necessary. So get in there. Bottom of your screen here, PulseWaveTrading.com for a free membership. Our free membership is, as the youth say, lit. It's ridiculous. It's so good, and it's about to get better. We're coming out with updates this week. One more thing before we bring on our friend John. If you do go to PulseWave Trading, there is right there on the screen a webinar we've got coming up this Friday. It's, oh my goodness, it says 3 p.m. It's at 11, and it's a private webinar. I'm gonna fix that right away. Thanks to Paul in the room who pointed that out to me. Dex's webinar is at 11 on Friday, but register at PulseWaveTrading.com, and you'll get an alert for that. And we just might, Dex, be rolling out some major updates this Friday. No promises, but it's highly likely. And I'll just put it this way. Some people who in the past were interested in joining PulseWave Trading and it's just sort of like didn't fit for them, I think we're going to have something for just about everybody. And it's going to be sick. So check out Friday's webinar. Dex and I are working on massive update. And I can honestly say I'm like giddy as a schoolgirl. What did Mike Myers used to say? I'm as happy as a little girl. Remember that? Yes. From the 80s.
Yes.
So millennials are looking at me like, what is wrong with this guy? All right, we're about to bring on my good friend, somebody I've known for a while, who absolutely wonderful guy, has helped, really, it's not an exaggeration to say, helped thousands of people get their lives back using the techniques and the wisdom that he's gained over the years. Really fight, it's funny, politicians always say they're fighting for the little guy and stuff like that. John Singleton is one of the people in the world that truly fights for the little guy, one-on-one, helping people get out of situations that, can ruin lives, really destroy lives. People going bankrupt, losing their homes and stuff like that. I've seen him help people with crazy problems that he's helped them unwind. And he's got a great new website called Privacy Fight Club, which is an awesome name, privacyfightclub.com. And he's got his own webinar coming up actually later today. So if you want to check that out, you could learn more about crypto taxes at his webinar later today. But without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and bring on the great John Singleton. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate being on. All right.
Glad to have you on our Wednesday hangout, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, our pleasure. So as I said, folks, the ticker right there, we have a link in the description if you want to learn more about John, as well as PulseWave Trading. So, John, it's almost tax season, man.
Yes, it's so fun.
Which means every single day someone's coming to you and saying, should I tell the IRS what's in my Exodus wallet?
Yes. Yes. And I tell them, yes, you have to tell everything.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, thinking about it.
Send photos.
Yeah. If you're thinking it, write it down so you can tell them.
Yep. Tell the IRS all your political opinions. Tell them every dollar your grandmother gave you, and every crypto you bought from Coinbase in the last 3 years, and it'll all be fine. So
Yes.
but that is a hot topic. We're going to cover a couple things.
Mhm.
We want to talk about. I know you have some thoughts about Reggie Middleton, which is something Dex and I have talked about.
This is
And we'll talk about fasting a little bit. But to get started, talk to us a little bit about to get the sort of basic stuff out of the way. You've got a webinar coming up today, strategies to deal with your cryptos. It's to do with taxes, it's to do with storing them, all kinds of stuff. So people can find that at privacyfightclub.com. But just getting into tax season, obviously Dex and I, PulseWave Trading, we deal with cryptos a lot. Almost all of our members are involved in cryptocurrencies to some extent. Most of them trade cryptos on a daily basis. And a few years ago, we had this big to do about paying taxes on your cryptos, and I've seen dozens of videos on the internet basically saying you have to report every trade that you make, which I don't even know how you would do that. You're trading on all kinds of crazy, the crypto world is new. It's the Wild West. And so you're trading on all kinds of weird decentralized exchanges and places that want KYC, places that don't want KYC. And the funny thing is, a year or so ago, we started to hear all over the place, mostly from guys who get paid to prepare taxes.
Yeah.
Which is not what you do, John. You don't prepare taxes.
I don't do that.
Like, you don't make money by filling out forms for people, which is a really important thing to understand about John's tax strategy when it comes to cryptos. Is he doesn't make more money if you pay more taxes, unlike a lot of these guys who are telling you what you need to know about crypto and taxes. They actually make money when you pay more taxes. So anyway, that out of the way, tell us a little bit about just some basics of how to approach tax season without giving away your webinar, which is coming up at 3 p.m. today.
Well, it's the same as everything else, because there's nothing new in the crypto world regarding taxes. There's nothing new in our tax system. The cryptos are defined just like gold is. It's property. So there's no new law, no new policy, except they're changing the 1040 from what I understand to ask you if you bought some, but so what? So it's I talked to someone yesterday and she thought there was some new law, and I said, what law changed? Because I always ask, instead of just telling people things, maybe there is something, but there isn't anything. It takes years to bring in some new legislation, but why would you bring in some new law when we already have 100 years worth of laws for property? You don't have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that basic idea that cryptos are property really should govern the way that people manage their cryptos when it comes to taxes.
In every country. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. That it's kind of like there's really nothing special that happened here. You've got a new asset you're trading. Dex, you want to pop in with something, buddy?
Absolutely. Okay, so question. I thought that cryptos were not assets. Cryptos were not currencies. Cryptos were not securities. If that is the case, how do we get into this tax thing? And if they are now considered assets, securities, then when did this happen and under what law?
Some are classified as securities and some are not. The SEC has a particular set of rules depending on how it's structured. If it's decentralized, there's one of the factors. But it really comes down to how you report it. If my Bitcoin, if I buy in at $500 and now my account's worth $1,000, and I report $500 gain, the IRS will tax me on that if I report it that way. But if I have it structured in a certain way where I'm not the owner, but I sit up through a vehicle like an LLC or a trust or something, and it's deferred, and I don't report it that way, then it's going to be accepted the way I don't report it. It's just on how you report it.
So the next question would be, how is it taxed? Is it taxed as capital gains? Is it taxed at your personal income level? How is it taxed?
Okay, first of all, the interesting thing here is it's not taxed at all. So any crypto coin is not taxed, even if you pay a tax on it. The coin is not being taxed. You're paying.
That's key, yeah.
That's a very important distinction. You're paying an evaluation on let's call it an asset. You're on the property. You're paying a valuation on it, a percentage, and you're calling it a tax, and you're paying it in dollars. So that's what's being taxed is your dollars. You're paying the percent. If you could pay the tax in cryptos, then that would be the thing being taxed. So you're paying a percent of the asset according to a tax scheme.
All right, but are they treating it under the securities laws and it's like capital gains, or is it personal income?
It's very simple. It's a disposition of assets. It's just like if you just sold some property and you made money with it, and you'd account for your cost basis or whatever, and then you pay tax on the difference. So if you made money on it, then yeah, it would be the money you made in dollars would be taxable. So it's just disposition of assets, really. And then you can call it whatever you want.
It wouldn't be like under the first lines like your 1040. It wouldn't be on a 1099 or anything like that. It would just be declared as miscellaneous income.
It would be that. It's the disposition of assets. Disposition. So you just sold an asset and you got money for it. Yeah. So I know you can report it in different ways. It can be a security. It depends on how you're owning the asset, the coin. It could also just be income. You're right. It could be miscellaneous.
So in other words, it's not fair, and it's not a cut and dry rule. And they put the SEC over it, since the SEC handles securities, but the SEC is not the only governing regulatory body that covers securities. They cover equities and bonds, mutual funds, those things. For instance, the SEC has nothing to do with the forex markets or the commodity futures markets. So since some of these are considered that way, how is that being handled? They don't know what they're doing, do they?
Well, no, they do. They're very slick. No, don't underestimate your government agencies. They're very smart.
That's a good point.
All right.
They really are, man.
Funny.
So you got Financial Crimes Network. That's an important agency, and the IRS, of course, and then Securities and Exchange, and you probably got a couple other ones involved in cryptos and the like. And just recently, I think there's a proposed legislation for this year. I forget what it's called. Has the word crypto or something or blockchain in it. And yeah, they have all these. They've delegated all these functions into these different agencies. And FinCEN is in there, SEC is in there, and IRS is in there. Those are the big ones. Depends on how you use it.
So have they put it in tax code for the layman? You know how the IRS comes up with their articles when it's time for tax preparation time. They come up with their articles so that you can see how to report and how to do certain things. Have they got that far yet?
They have their bulletins. There's a tax treatment, but nothing's really changed. There's been a letter ruling regarding airdrops, things like that. But you still have the same rules that apply because it's property. So they want people to believe that they should report trades between coins. That's what it comes down to. And the whole system is geared toward that. But it's not really the case. You can report it how you choose to report it. In other words, like if I own my house, I can choose to own my house, but I don't have to own my house to live in my house. I can rent the house. I can also put the house into a trust. I can do all kinds of things with my relationship to the house. So the same thing with cryptos. The same thing with stock, for that matter. You know, you can do the same thing.
Yeah, but at least the tax treatment is different with real securities. According to them, my stocks are taxed depending on if it's a short-term or long-term asset. Commodity futures are taxed at a different tax rate in a different way. Forex is taxed differently in a different way. So how are they really? If it's a security and you're putting it under the auspices of the SEC, the Securities
Well, that's
Exchange,
the thing. Most of them are not
the
technically
tax structure?
securities, right? There are certain, like, it's basically when it comes to the crypto world, it's a case-by-case basis whether you're dealing with a security or not. Isn't that correct?
Right.
Well, so far I've not seen any distinction made. It's being treated as a security.
It is. Okay.
See, it doesn't make sense. You see how it doesn't make sense and how it's confusing? Okay. At least I know Rule 1275 for commodity futures. Boom, bam! I can go to their website, whatever. I can find the forms. I can find their writing on it, their publication. Okay, they have a publication for everything. You know, stocks, equities. Oh, I bought a mutual fund. Let me go and see what the IRS has to say. But here's publication 10-9. Okay, there it is. Boom. But with this crypto thing, it doesn't sound like they really.
It's not yet.
They know they're going to take your money, but they don't know how they want.
Here's what they're doing. They're trying to get people to adopt a certain behavior. The behavior, and once that behavior is adopted, it's acceptable. And then they say, "Here's the rule, guys," and this is going to be exactly what you're already doing. That's how they do it. So that way, There's no smart attorneys that come in there and try to make a name for themselves and go to the appeals court, and all that's gone because everybody's already doing it. It's just like if you and I were doing stuff like every Saturday I came over and I cut your grass and you gave me $10. We don't have a contract, but I keep doing that on Saturday, and then I don't show up on Saturday, and then you say, hey man, you breached the contract. Well, you're right, because we had a contract. I was
because of the behavior
to be there. That's right.
Outstanding. Yo, man, this is my first time really talking to you, man. I love it. Kindred spirit. I love your
I told you that.
on point, man. I'm in love with this guy already.
You are so funny, Dex. I told him, I'm like, Dex, he knows a lot of stuff. You're gonna have fun on this interview. But it doesn't come down to, John, and I think you've been hitting at this. I'm trying to put it in my own framework, so correct me if I'm pushing it too hard. But basically, these new questions they're putting out, and I saw them in TurboTax. Did you purchase or trade cryptocurrencies this year? And what I found in the past dealing with people is there's a sort of panic in people where they have this idea that the government, and there's even a Facebook meme, and I think it's CIA propaganda that says the government. There's this great meme that goes around. It says the government asked me what I made this year. And the sort of joke, and I butchered it already. The joke is, we already know what you made. We just want to see if you're going to tell us what you made.
Yes, that is the system. That's it.
Yeah, but do they though? When it comes to this stuff, there's an assumption that they know everything about your cryptos, and so
I don't think so.
To me, it seems like they're trying to get you to say things that are just going to cause you trouble and aren't even legally required. Did I say that right?
That's correct. So the answering on the 1040 does not create the same thing as a 1099 does.
Okay.
Interesting.
So if you say I bought cryptos, that's fine.
So what?
Just like I bought stock, so what? But here's what's going to happen. Here's my suspicion. This hasn't happened yet, so don't get scared. There's a way around this too. There's a way to work through this, but I think if you say yes, that you bought cryptos in 2019, you're going to get audited.
Ooh.
And here's what they're going to do.
I never heard of this cryptocurrency
where
thing.
you did not get a 1099, you're going to get audited, because what the agents will do is, with the audit process, they will be able to summon Coinbase and all those records, and they will say, look, you had all these coin trades, and they're going to run the coin tracker software, and they're going to generate a 1099 even though your trades didn't reach the threshold for the 1099 with the exchange.
Terrifying.
Then they're going to send you a deficiency notice. And so what they're trying to do is they're using the exchanges right now to create a backup withholding situation. Instead of just taxing you up front like they do with your wages, they're trying to create a backup withholding. So what that means is, let's say you got a 1099 from Coinbase and you don't include it on your 1040. That's actually correct, unless you sold something and got dollars out. If you didn't sell anything, I have to clarify this. If you traded coins and you didn't take any dollars out, and it's a personal account, and you got a 1099, you can ignore that and do a 1040. There's no tax consequence. But here's what's going to happen. If you ignore it and don't get it corrected, the IRS will send a backup withholding notice to Coinbase the next year, and then Coinbase will take 30% of your cryptos and sell it and pay the IRS that money. That's called backup withholding. And then you're going to freak out, and who are you going to call? Your CPA, and he's going to say, oh, we got to amend your tax return. Now you create the liability that they prompted you to create with the backup withholding.
Yeah, wow.
Incredible.
I like the way you put it too,
So
John.
using you to dig
create
your
the
own grave.
liability. You create the liability.
You're digging your own grave.
That's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, that's the system.
Shoot yourself. Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole system. It's always been that way. So how do you correct it? Well, if you go to your CPA and say, look, I got a 1099 for exchanges I made between property, and I didn't realize a gain on anything. There was no real disposition of assets by their own criteria. He's going to say, well, let's include it on your 1040. He doesn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
So there is a process whereby you can go to the IRS and ask them to fix it. You can't go to the issuer. They won't fix it. They don't know how. They're not supposed to. You have to go to the IRS. You have to give them a legal memorandum, and you have to show them there was no disposition of the assets. And if they agree, then they'll write you a letter back and say, okay, fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we could obviously talk about this all day, but I have a couple other things. But your webinar you're doing this afternoon, I mentioned it earlier. Let me pull up your page again so everybody can see it. privacyfightclub.com, and just click on register now. And this afternoon, 3 o'clock, John's going to be going over 5 crucial strategies every crypto holder needs to know this tax season. So that's what he's going to be looking at. And you're going to be on there with my cousin Bill, right?
Yeah,
So,
Bill. I love Bill. He's a great
will
guy.
be there. Bill's handsome bastard. So that's this afternoon, and basically going to be going over in a structured way the things that we're talking about now in terms of how you would approach some of those things. So check that out, privacyfightclub.com. All right, some other things that we wanted to talk about, John. I know this was something near and dear to Dex's heart. What just went down with Reggie Middleton, and in fact, Dex, why don't you refresh us what happened with the SEC? They basically just took his money.
Yeah, basically what they did was they removed him from being able to even control and operate within the Very space, and they took millions of dollars away from him.
Millions.
And basically,
like 10,
to me, this is just me. They said, "Look, you're getting too big for your britches."
That's right.
Who is this uppity Negro?
That's right.
Coming into our
That's
space?
What they did.
It's exactly
thinking he's going to challenge the U.S. financial system.
That's right.
By jeopardizing the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. You think Very is going to be the world reserve currency? Nah, Negro. Step back. And then they shut him down. They showed him the full force and power of the U.S. Apparatus when it comes to their security, police network, whatever. You got your FBI coming in there. You got your IRS coming in there, and all these other acronyms of agencies we never even heard of before, just to put fear into his heart. And they used him as an example to all the other would-be crypto heads out there that want to do something similar that he's doing, saying, try it if you want to, and you're going to feel the same thing. That's just my feed on it.
And they assassinated his reputation, Dex. I mean, the things they were saying about how he misrepresented things, they made it sound like he was a total huckster, which anybody who knows his work knows it's not the truth.
Can I augment what you just said, Dex, please?
Yep.
Okay, so I look at it more of like completely what you just said, but let me add this little part. So they're so powerful that those whiny babies couldn't figure out the technology he invented. With MIT, they own it. With the US Patent Office, they own it. Anything you put up in the US Patent Office, they take it. But they couldn't figure out what he did. So what they had to do is they couldn't beat him. They couldn't beat him with their definitions, with their broad-based, no definition SEC laws, where they could just make up anything. They still couldn't beat him. So what they do? Take his stuff. So they're so powerful. But here's the punchline. When you steal somebody's stuff, you're the de facto trustee of it. That means you owe it back. That's how the law works, okay? That's in our case law. That's hundreds of years old. So the SEC stole it. So the SEC owes it back. But moreover, they can't even operate it without Reggie's help.
So basically, in essence, what you just said, John, is that
hilarious.
He got Nick Tesla. They came in, instead of waiting for the man to die and come in and take all his research, they just went in there while he's still alive and said, "Give me that." They basically ran down on Reggie, all right, and they had the gap out and they put it to his head and said, "Run it."
That's right.
And Reggie was like, "What you talking about?" They said, "Run it." And he said, "All right, look, I got $500 in my pocket. You can have that. Just don't hurt me." Nah, Negro. We don't want your money. We want your computer. What? You come
they want his brain.
Computer?
They need his brain. They have to go back to Reggie now and say, we know we stole your stuff, but we need your help now because we can't run it. That's exactly what's happening right now.
This is what they're doing. They're going, yeah, Reggie, we're going to need you to go ahead and come in this Saturday and show us how Veritaseum
That's what I told my neighbor way back. I told my neighbor, she's over my house. You know, we always, buy cryptos and stuff. And she comes over and like, yeah, let's do that and that. And she got in the ICO with Very, and she's like, call me on the phone. She's like, what do we do now? What do we do now? I said, buy more. Buy. Buy more Very.
Yeah, that's it. So
that
John,
was
can you explain, because me and Dex, you and I have talked about this, like what's going to happen with Very, people are speculating like crazy.
They need it.
Now, two things. First,
the government need it.
They set up a thing where you can like say, "Oh, I have a bunch of Very government," right? They have a thing where you can go and tell them that you have it.
Yeah, they want it. They want. It's not enough to steal his stuff. They got to get yours too, and they got to get your name and your address and your tax number, and they got to mess with you now.
Yeah.
So don't tell
take your Very because they need to corner the market so they can control it.
That's right.
Basically, what they're saying is you know what? You're a genius. We've been trying to build our own blockchain, and we like what you've done. We think what you've done is exactly what we want to do. Thanks a lot for your help. Now, to stay out of prison, if you come work for us,
that's right.
We'll pay you. We'll compensate you.
Yeah.
But you ain't running nothing.
That's what they did.
Yeah, they say, hey, that's a nice life you have there. It'd be a shame if something happens to it.
Same old story. That's why they put out Bitcoin. I think they created Bitcoin. What we're watching with Bitcoin and all the crypto is the bankers' bailout. They're bailing themselves out. And then Reggie comes along and does something they didn't expect. And they're like, whoa, we need that. They need it.
I hope people are listening to this interview, because
we're gonna make them listen. We're putting
my man John is dropping signs over here, y'all. Y'all need to listen. Now, see, look, people say I'm crazy, which I am, but it doesn't mean that because I'm crazy that I don't speak the truth. I'm crazy when I say it, but now we got this genius here, and you got John here saying it. So now, you guys, what you gonna do with this information?
Yeah. I'm not even a trader. I'm not a trader. I like risk management. Dex is great about risk management too, in the securities and the stock and all that. I'm just looking at like a consumer, and I'm saying, yeah, that's what they did. They're a bunch of thugs, but they still need him, and the governments need his technology.
That's insane.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about it at all that way. That's amazing. So you think so in addition to Dex's analysis, which I think is true, you're saying they actually just wanted it.
That's it. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of it that way. That's intriguing. Yeah. Wow.
Look, so Reggie, if you're listening, my brother, if you're listening to this broadcast, Reggie, all right. Hey, we love you, Reggie. You have always been the man. I think this is their way also to get back at you for embarrassing them on their platform. You have gone on CNBC and Bloomberg and all those other shows, Reuters, whatever, and you embarrassed their analysts because your analysis were like a million times better. Yeah. You even showed them that your econometric modeling techniques was way more advanced than theirs, and you said, "No, I'm not gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy this," and then your stocks will go up, theirs would not. And I remember the last call you did, you called out Apple, and man, they almost ran you out of there on a rail. Wow. But you were right, and they were wrong, and I haven't seen you back on the show since. So we riding with Reggie on this one.
You don't come back if you're right about stuff. Yeah.
I don't really big up too many people. All right. There's only a handful of dudes that I either know of or know and have interacted with personally. I haven't met Reggie, but I followed his career back when he was doing ETFs on the internet, and he had institutional clients paying him ridiculous amounts of money for his research. I remember those days when most people don't. And he was the man back then. I've been following him ever since. He's not a trader like from our perspective, but he is a Wall Street analyst. All right, that's what he do. And he's the kind of guys that would have came out of MIT or whatever and went to work on Wall Street with a degree in economics or physics and made $400,000 a year. He's that guy. Yeah. All right. So that's the side of the fence he was on. Yeah, I was the guys that was building the models to actually extract the monies out of the markets for clients that wanted to day trade and stuff, different markets. I was on that side of the fence.
Did that ever pan out for you, Dex? No, I'm kidding.
I wish it would have.
Only you developed a system.
Life would be a lot different today. I just wish I have an idea.
My mother
just told me to we should have called it PulseWaves, man. Why didn't I do that? Yeah, so we know Reggie's the real deal is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, he's one of the handful of people on YouTube that's a real dude, and I can tell people he's a real dude.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt to see them assassinate his character along with his.
Yeah, they did.
It's really.
They said he commingled funds. Yeah. Which is against the law. You go to jail for that. How come he's not in jail? If he did it, why is he in jail?
And also the latest comments that you see on his website, that's all BS from the SEC, man. He didn't say that stuff. They told him he has to say that. Like, we're going to work on better products that are more compliant. No, he didn't say that. Please.
Okay, now
we'll make our revolutionary product better.
You guys are laughing, but now let me tell you guys, we're laughing, but what John just said is an absolute fact.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a rule, you guys who don't know, who didn't work on Wall Street, let me just tell you, there's an actual rule, okay? When you go through any kind of arbitration or any kind of claims with either the SEC or the CFTC, which manages the commodities futures exchanges, and all the associated persons, and that's anyone who has a securities license, if you get in trouble, they have a right to mandate certain rules just for you. One of those rules could be, okay, all your documents have to have these particular disclosures on them. Every time you receive a phone call or make a phone call, it has to be recorded. And they can do that. And they will literally come in and audit you to see if you've been in compliant with the particular rules that were slapped on you. So the fact that he had to put down his website, like John just said, no, that's not Reggie. That is the SEC.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just so people know. Yes.
Yep.
They're making him do that.
Good point. So as we transition, I wanted to say one more thing. I'm going to put this ticker up again. We appreciate John spending so much time with us this morning, but you can learn more about him at privacyfightclub.com, and he's got a webinar 3 p.m. this afternoon talking about real strategies for this stuff. This is the thing. From my layperson's perspective, I'll say this. When I hear John talk about what needs to happen with your cryptos and stuff like that, sometimes it can be, it sounds a little bit like, oh, I don't know how to do that. That's a little overwhelming. How am I going to do that? Truth is, if you follow John's thinking, his tips, his tricks, his system, what I've personally found, and I have personally used John's system, as well as helped many other people use it in the past, it actually will simplify your life. It simplifies things once you get it in place and understand it, and puts you in a position where not paying, nobody wants to get behind on their credit card bills. But imagine if you were in a position where defaulting on a credit card is you're not going to lose sleep over it because you're okay. It's not the end of the world. You don't want to stiff anybody, but life happens. I've seen elderly people, John, and I know you've seen this a million times more than me, but you got elderly people, disabled people, they got a default on some $5,000 credit card and they get physically sick over it.
Yeah, man, they're struggling. They're thinking
they're going to get destroyed by that.
Yeah, they want to pay, and a lot of them are uncollectible, like they're just on pension money. And I'm like, why?
They couldn't take their money if they wanted to.
Yeah. I've even told people, why don't you donate the money to charity if you just have to spend it? Just give it to your church or send me some money. I tell them, send me some money and I'll go buy an asset. When it doubles, I'll give it back to you.
They think there's a guy. They think there's a guy sitting at JP Morgan in a building,
right?
And he makes 35 grand a year, and he's the one they borrowed the money from. And he's screwed now because they didn't pay it back. That's not what's happening here. They invented the money, lent it to you. Yeah. Now they're taxing you on it. Now they're going to steal your wages. Anyway, the system is simple. You can, whether it's IRS issues, crypto issues, basically just how to manage your stuff. So check out John's webinar now. We're going way off topic now. Let's all pretend to be doctors. So John, when I first met you in person years ago, you look great. You're a handsome guy, but you were at least 80 pounds heavier than you are right now.
Yeah, 100
pounds heavier.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, when I met you, now people hear somebody loses 100 pounds. They picture a really big person. You did not look like a guy who had 100 pounds to lose when I met you. You weren't like morbidly obese or anything like that. You had a few extra pounds. I would have thought 40 pounds treadmill, you'd be fine. But you started doing all this stuff at, what are you, around 50? A little younger?
Yeah, 50, 49.
You're pushing it. Okay, so you're pushing it. And, you lost all this weight. So tell us about your journey with fasting. And, just to give people a little preview, it's more than just weight loss. A lot of research is being done. It shows people are curing cancer with these protocols. Which is a lot to say, but it's true. People are really finding healing. So anyway, I'll let you talk.
Well, it comes up a lot when I'm talking with people. Like, for example, this gentleman I helped, he and his wife stop a foreclosure for about 3 years. And I can only do it for so long. But after about 3 years, and so, in fact, he's still there. It's been maybe 4 years now. But about a year ago, he's not paying anything. No mortgage, no taxes, and no insurance on that. and we get other types of insurance. So
Okay,
anyway,
pause.
yeah, it's
Pause,
really-
John. You just said that whole thing in passing. This is an example. Here's a person who should be losing their mind because they're under foreclosure. Instead, you set them up in a way so that they're essentially living rent free for a little
On the
while.
foreclosure, it's fun, and I know it's not fun when you're calling me because you're in tears and your friend said to call me, and I'm the last
Literally in
resort,
tears.
right? And I'm not an attorney, but you're gonna call me anyways because you're at your wit's end, and then we're laughing at the end of the phone conversation.
Yeah.
And the reason why we get there is because I shut down the foreclosure with basically paperwork. It's their same garbage, and there's some procedures that are needed to be followed, and we don't even care about correct legal arguments. What we're doing is just pushing buttons, and the whole
That's the
system
key,
shuts
yeah.
down. They don't sell your house for years. You stay there, you keep all your money, you save your money, and then I help you get another property. In the meantime, while you're in foreclosure, I want you to change your attitude, and that is, look at it like it's not being foreclosed upon because you were looking at a house when you got this one. You were looking for one. So continue looking for one and enjoy the process.
It's
In the
insane.
meantime, it's just
It's a different
paperwork.
world. Yeah, paperwork.
Yeah. So we shut it down. So anyways, I'm talking to this guy, and we're at this point now where we're getting the next property, and I show him how to buy a house, and his credit is toast. We went in through bankruptcy. We ran through several lawsuits in court. It's a mess, and we're going to buy a house with his credit, and I'm showing him how to do this.
Wow.
So I'm talking about, we get into his job or his income or something, and this guy's telling me his skin is splitting. I said, "We're talking about your skin is splitting." He goes, "Well, I'm overweight. I'm so overweight that my skin is splitting. My doctor's doing this and that." And I was like, "Well, okay, gosh, and I shared with him my personal experience. And this guy he did exactly what I did. And he's been doing it since 2018. Let's see, that's what, a year and 4 months or something, a year and 3 months.
Mhm.
And so he eats one meal every 3 days.
Wow.
And he drives a truck. Now he's back to work and he's healthy. He's walking around.
Wow.
He would have been dead by now. His skin couldn't even stay together.
Ugh.
So that's why I say a lot of this stuff comes into money, and that we had to get through that to get to the money aspect, because one of the things I show people is it's easy to stop a foreclosure. It's easy to stop a debt collection. It's pretty easy to stay in your house, and then it's pretty easy to find the next property, the next house. You just need basically regular income. But then I wanted to show him how to make more money. Like, here's how you spend 3 hours a week and make $2,000 a month on something you never thought of before, but it's sitting right in front of you. And I show him how to do that. So we're at that point, but we couldn't get there because of this health issue that was inhibiting him from doing it. So that's why we have this conversation about this so-called snake diet. And snakes, and this is where it came from. Snakes eat like once a week or once every 2 weeks. It depends on the snake. Lions eat once a week, and they eat a bunch of food.
Yeah.
So I didn't think any of this stuff like a few years ago, but I realized I felt so bloated, and I was like, well, I'm going to stop eating. And I went online and I started searching around for people that are, like fasting. And I found this guy in Canada. His name is Cole Robinson, and he was talking about, hey, you're weak if you can't fast for a week.
He's
you're
a total
weak.
psycho. I love the guy.
Yeah, he's crazy, but I love him. I mean, he saved my life. So, and I share it with as many people as I can that want to hear it. But basically, I didn't understand that I could stop eating, and then I just had to drink salt water. I couldn't just drink water, and just a small amount, like not 2 gallons, but like maybe 2 glasses a day. Now I hardly drink any water at all. When I drink water, it's with my meal, and I eat 4 meals a week, and it's a nice lifestyle. I feel great. I'm strong.
Now you say that it's a nice lifestyle, and people are rolling their eyes.
Okay, here's
Talk
an example.
Yeah.
I ate lunch on Tuesday. Okay,
it's Wednesday afternoon.
That was yesterday, so I ate yesterday. I will eat tomorrow breakfast. And when I ate enough for 3 people. I have like 3 entrees. We went to a restaurant. I had like 3 entrees, 3 appetizers, 3 desserts. Now this restaurant had 1 dessert. Then I went next door to a restaurant that only serves desserts, and I had 3 desserts. And that was my lunch for 2 hours.
We're down for this part of your diet.
Yeah, that's the
Dex
best
is
part.
like, this isn't any different than what we do now for lunch. What are you talking about, Don? He's
well,
like,
I don't eat again, but I don't eat again for 2 days. So that's the catch.
That's the catch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every 2 days.
And it just feels great. I mean, I feel great now. I did some weightlifting this morning, and I'll do some bike riding later today and stuff like that. So this helps a lot of people. But this guy, I'm talking about, and there's many people. I mean, many people come back. I'll have one consultation. I'll talk to him on Skype, and I'm asking, sometimes I get kind of nosy, and people are okay with that because we're talking about money, right? This is personal stuff. And I say, since we're talking about your money and your income, I don't think you have a problem with me asking you, do you feel uncomfortable? Because I'm looking at you and you're like,
Yeah.
because I was there 2 years ago. That's why I can say this. I was there,
Mhm.
So I said, well, let me share with you what I did. And now I have this, I wrote this intro to a book I'm writing called Steak and Whiskey for Breakfast. And I was at my
Two of
chiropractor's
my favorite
yesterday.
things.
Yeah, steak and whiskey. Now I don't always drink whiskey for breakfast, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I
You
do.
got to shock him in the title.
Sometimes, yeah. And when I eat breakfast, it'll be like at 6 a.m, and I'll have a pound of ground beef or a pound of steak, and I'll
Wow.
have a bowl of berries and evaporated milk, and I'll have some ice cream, and then I might finish it off with some bourbon, like a shot of
Wow.
bourbon or two, and then after that, and this is within 90 minutes. After that, I may have a teaspoon of turpentine. And there's a reason for that, and that's explained in my
Wow.
little booklet there. But if you go search on the internet for steak and whiskey for
Yes.
breakfast, it'll just show up. It's at MagCloud. It's published there for free. And just get the PDF version of it. Don't order the paper one unless you want the paper one. And it's 8 pages or 10 pages, and it'll open up in your browser, and it'll tell you what I did, and it'll tell you the different components of the schedule. And basically you're just making salt water, and there's 2 salts you want to use, and
Yep.
add some baking soda sometimes, and that's it. Yeah. That'll get you in shape, because if you're not, hey, I don't care how rich you are, man, if you don't have your health, you don't have wealth.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, I've had some health battles of my own. Certainly could lose a lot of weight. And what I found is whenever I've had issues, you go to the doctor, and I'll be just totally transparent with you guys. I'm a type 2 diabetic, and you go to the doctor, and what I find is if my sugars get out of control, everything gets screwed up, and they want to put you not on one medicine for your blood sugar. They want to put you on 3 medicine. They want you on Lipitor. They want to put you on, they're always worried about your cholesterol, because they all buy the
cholesterol is not the problem.
They all buy the lipid hypothesis. So the first thing they worry
cholesterol is not the problem.
And they all look at me like I'm crazy when I say, I'm not taking Lipitor. Let me work on my blood sugar. I'll be fine.
Take it, yeah.
And what I found is when you fix the blood sugar, which is a result of eating too frequently, everything else falls into place. The blood cleans itself up. The liver cleans itself up. Everything just fixes itself.
Let me tell you what the purpose of the meds are for type 2 diabetes. The sole purpose of taking meds when you're type 2 diabetic is to get you to become a type 1 diabetic.
Wow.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's exactly what it is.
Elaborate.
Okay, type 2 diabetic will kill your pancreas, and you will become a type 1 diabetic. That is the game, and the system will make money off you hand over fist. There's insurance policies on you right now, especially if you're sick. When you go in there for that first, and by the way, type 2 diabetes is not a disease. It's like an eating disorder, or it's almost like just, I don't know, eating too much candy. I mean, it's not a disease.
Literally,
it's not.
Okay, so how can you overcome type 2 diabetes?
You can overcome it in 48 hours.
Yeah.
48 hours. You stop eating right now. Right now, stop eating. In about 6 hours, have yourself a little glass of salt water. And then at 6 hours, have a little glass of salt water. In 24 hours, you're going to feel a little weird, okay? But
it's not fun.
You're
in
24 hours.
Doesn't start fun.
You're going to be off your meds. You won't be needing to take your meds after 24 to 48 hours. Then don't do it anymore. Stop taking your meds. Stay on the no eating, but drink the salt water, and you could do that for a whole week. Actually, if you can't psychologically, just do it for 3 days. So stop eating, drink salt water, and then at the 72-hour mark, 3 days, have a steak and a salad, and then do it again. Keep doing that, and you'll get lean. And there will be no such thing as type 2 diabetes after that. And by the way, it's not just that, because my wife, she's like, I could tell when she talks to me, she's jealous. She's like, how is your skin like that? Because my skin, it's like different. I couldn't tell you because I don't know how to like describe it. But like I used to have eczema on my arms, and
this is the next part I want to get into. It cures things that have that you would think have nothing to do with being fat or eating poorly.
It's like I have new skin like when I was 18 or 16 years old. I am not exaggerating.
Wow.
It's smooth. It's like, whatever.
Sexy beast.
The only thing is I still have a little loose skin because of all the fat that got, it's gone, but the skin is stretched and it came back a bit. So fasting without water will cure that more.
Yeah, the dry fasting.
I still have. Dry fasting.
I have a question about the water and the salt. Can you use sea salt?
You can use organic
Very
sea salt.
specific salt. Yeah.
You need organic sea salt, and you can use pink salt also, Himalayan pink salt. One or both. They're probably the same thing. Do not use iodized salt.
Right, because that's fiberglass and rocks.
Whoa.
Yeah,
John,
iodized salt is toxic. You don't need iodine.
It shreds your arteries, and it causes the arteries to build plaque, and then they call that plaque.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I have to mute myself for a second. Hold on.
CO, well, while you mute yourself, CO says your skin. CO is a very regular listener and PulseWave member that we really appreciate. She says your skin is glowy and showy. That's hot.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Yeah, so yeah, don't tell my wife that; she'll get angry.
We won't tell her.
So
eat shrimp if you want.
But you're right, Dex. You're right, because it's not the cholesterol that's the problem; it's the plaque that builds up, the calcification, and that comes from things like iodized salt and tap water. So you want the sea salt or the pink salt, Himalayan pink salt, and so that's NaCl. That's what you want, pure NaCl. The other salt you want, there's two salts. The other one is KCl, potassium chloride. And you can get this at the brand name for it in the grocery store is no salt. It's just no salt. So I had equal portions, and I put it in a quart of water, and I filled it up halfway with I use distilled water to drink, and I'm mineralizing the water. Yeah, they would call it snake juice. Yeah. So you put the two salts with the pure water. Use distilled or good spring water. Don't use tap water. And I wouldn't even use filtered water. There's other garbage in there besides what you think. I'm not even going to get into it, but you know, I distilled a few batches of water, and I sent it to our AG's office here in Florida. And the water looks like I took a big cup and I dredged out the pond in my backyard and put it in a bag, a Ziploc bag. That just came from tap water that I distilled 4 batches. So I sent that to my AG's office, and I said, I believe that someone's involved in an act of terrorism, and I think it's your duty to investigate this. This came out of my tap water.
Wow.
I sent that to her.
What came out of your tap? I was reading comments.
Okay, what comes out of the tap water, you should distill it and see yourself. This is going in your body and being filtered in your kidneys, and hopefully it's being filtered. But and by your liver, it's got people that take opioids, like medicines from their doctor, like you're given.
Yeah.
Okay, which is almost everybody. Like you get fertility pills, and you get what do you call it? Infertility, right? Not to keep yourself from being pregnant, right? Birth control and fertility pills. You get opioids. Okay, so people that are taking these medicines, that's being excreted into the water supply, and it's not being filtered. So it gets recycled back into your water that you're drinking. So you're drinking other people's opioids.
Drinking other people's opioids.
You also got mercury and lead.
Sounds like a crazy rock album type.
Fluoride.
Hey, I have a question, because I have to jet. I have to go pick up my wife.
Oh, that's right. You got to go. Yeah.
But it's been awesome. We got to have you back on the show, my man.
Definitely will.
All right, Dexter, love it.
It's been a pleasure meeting you. God bless you, and be encouraged, brother.
Thanks, Dex.
All right, cool.
Likewise.
All right, we'll see you later. We're gonna keep going. We'll see you later, Dex. Thanks, buddy.
All right, peoples.
Take care, buddy. All right. So that's insane.
So yeah, gotta stay away from that water. So mix that up, and then drink that throughout the day. Now, what I do is, like, I've done it for a while, so it's real easy for me. So I just drink, like last night after I ate lunch around 7 o'clock, I had a quart of this salt water, and I added baking soda because I'm not going to eat anything for more than 3 hours. So I put baking soda in there, and I also have a mixture of borax and Epsom salts, which I'm not going to get into too much. It's in the book. So I drank that. Yeah, in the steak and whiskey,
because we're gonna get. So
just Google it for free.
Going, and I'll put the link in the description after we get off. Go ahead.
You can find it so easy. It shows up in the search engine real high.
Steak and whiskey.
Steak and whiskey for breakfast. It's a PDF. It opens up in your browser. It's on MagCloud.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So anyways, so I drank that last night in about an hour. So I don't drink it throughout the day. I do not drink anything throughout the day. I drink nothing. Like, I will not drink anything until tomorrow for breakfast. So for 36 hours or 30 hours, I'm not drinking anything. Usually I dry fast 36 hours at a time, about 3 times a week, most of the week.
I'm posting this in the live chat. As but when you're on YouTube, you can post your links.
The best, cleanest thing you can eat when you've become lean is, like, before I was lean, I would eat red meat, like steak or ground beef or hamburgers, and then I would have a salad and then resume fasting. Now I like salads, so I might have some, but I really want to have berries like raspberry or blueberry or watermelon. and I have that with my steak
Now,
or
what is
ground
that
beef.
for health purposes? You just like it? What's the
I
specific?
like it. I don't need it, but I
Gotcha.
like eating fruit, and I eat it with evaporated milk, and those are my carbs. Not that I need them, because your body will make carbs just with red meat. You could just eat red meat for a long time. You do at some point need some variation, but you don't really need the carbs. And I do have, sometimes I eat candy or cake or whatever, but it's not the thing. And you'll be surprised. It's not appealing to me anymore. I would rather eat a bowl of, like, I'll get 2 of those little plastic cartons of raspberries at the grocery store, rinse those off and put them in a bowl and put a can of evaporated milk. I'll just drink the whole can with those raspberries, and that's my fruit.
Awesome. Yeah, I know, like, one of my friends is texting me. I'm dying to read the comment from my friend, but I won't. They'll kill me. You know, some people just so intimidated by the idea of not eating. It's just so scary to them. And, you know, can you get, in my personal experience with it, you know, there are definitely really hard days with it, but, you know, after a while, especially if you start to do them back to back, your body just gets so cleansed, your head gets so clear, your body goes into
I'll tell you,
ketosis, your brain, my brain on
yeah.
ketosis, like, I'm pretty sure I'm in ketosis right now. I told you before we went on, I'm actually losing some weight myself.
Yeah.
But I can tell I'm in ketosis because of the way my brain works.
That's right.
It's like everything just connects quicker. Everything is faster. It's pretty amazing.
It is a lifestyle change, because sometimes if I'm doing something socially with my family, and they're going to eat, my son, he eats once a day. He does what I do, except he eats once a day. I eat once every
How
other
old is he?
day. He's 14. He's been doing that since he was 12. He started copying me 2 years ago. He just started eating he fasts. And
The
he's
boys,
very
my son
he
loves
is
everything.
very strict. He is very
Yeah.
strict. Yeah.
That's
So
really cool.
yeah, and my kids are thin, but when they go somewhere, we go somewhere, they want to eat out, and if it's not my time to eat, I will sit there through the whole meal, and they will eat and order stuff, and the waiter will ask me, "You sure you don't want anything?" And I'll say, "No, I don't." So it's a bit of a change, and then my wife will ask me, "Are you eating tomorrow? You know, are you eating the next day?" So then she'll, because maybe
Plan
on
social
Friday,
events around it.
yeah, like a
Order.
dinner on Friday night.
Yeah.
You know, like tomorrow night, okay, it's a birthday, so we're gonna go out to eat. I'm sorry, on Friday we're gonna go out to eat, and then we're gonna come back to the house, and we're gonna have some friends over, and we're probably gonna play blackjack. We do that, right?
That's
Yeah, our
cool.
kids, they love blackjack. So
With the kids, that's funny.
yeah, so everybody, we cook, salmon or whatever, and eat over here.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so it is a bit of a change. So when it's like being just stoic. You don't care. And the way I look at it is like, if it's something I really like to eat and I'm not going to eat right now because it's not my time to eat, it's not my 36 hours, it's not my 48 hours, it's not my 72 hours. I know that food is still going to be there. I will eat it if I really want. I'll come back, and tomorrow, and I'll just go get it again. If my wife gets salmon tonight, I'm not going to eat it. But if I really want the salmon, I'll eat it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a good friend. He's an internet friend. He actually lives in your neck of the woods down in Florida, but he just started his own Facebook group about fasting protocols. And he had a great thing about this with the fasting lifestyle. And you tell me if you agree. I mean, you're very, very disciplined with it. But he made a great point. He was saying, like, hey, something goes wrong and, you ate a bear claw for lunch. Don't stress about it. Just get back on the protocol. Just get back to the fasting, because it's the kind of thing where this is the thing with dieting. And I've seen Cole Robinson, someone was asking if that's who we were talking about before. That's the snake diet guy. I've seen Cole talk about this, that one of the really special things about the snake diet is that it does actually work. Like, it has to work. You stopped eating, your body is going to start to eat itself, which brings in, weight loss. Your body is obviously it's using stored fat for calories and for energy. But there's a new bit of this, and I'm interested in you probably explain this a lot better than I could. But this new science of autophagy, which a scientist a couple of years ago won a Nobel Prize for his work on autophagy. But when you're in that fasted state for, I don't know if it's more than 24 hours, or actually I think it's even less. I think after something like 12 hours, your body starts a little bit of autophagy. But can you talk about autophagy and how it relates to cancer and tumors? I don't know if you're I'm in the same Cole Robinson's Facebook group, and there are a lot of very heavy people in there posting their pictures of their progress. But there's also guys who are and women who are totally lean, or, they're not particularly obese, and they'll be in there because they've got a skin problem, or they've got, there's one guy in Cole's group right now. He's in great shape, but he's got a brain tumor. And so he's using, and he's got kids and stuff. So he's doing the fasting protocol to shrink his brain tumor. Can you speak to that a little bit and how that works?
No, I'm not an expert like Cole is, and Cole will say he's not an expert too, by the way. But I'm just listening to him and doing my own research. A guy like who's already in shape, who's lean, that has cancer, he literally has to use fasting to gain weight, and which you can do, and he has to gain weight and then go for extended periods of time with dry fasting, where you just basically lay in bed and don't drink any water and nothing.
It's kind of miserable, yeah. Dry fast is there's no water, which people will tell you you're going to die, but you can actually go a while.
No. What happens is your body will, that's what you're talking about, autophagy. Autophagy, auto means self, right? And phagy has to do with eating. Basically, your body's going to consume itself. It's designed that way, by the way. So a fat cell has 65% water in it. And this is known as metabolic water. So when your body's breaking down fat cells, which could be just under your skin, you could be thin, but there's always fat cells in different parts of your skin. Your body will find it and break it down and take the water out and take the glycogen out and use it for what it's needed. If you deprive your body of that.
Did you say it takes the glycogen out?
Yeah, it'll take out the glycogen from your cell, your fat cell, and it will use it for muscle contractions. And it'll take out the water, which is 65% of that cell is water, which is known as metabolic water. And your body will get into autophagy, which is consuming itself, which is what you want, because when it does that, your body is smart. Collectively, the whole thing itself, it's intelligent. It's going to decide how to allocate chemicals. And so if you have cancer, what's the first thing to go? If that's the only problem you have as a cancer cell, what's the first thing the body's going to disassemble and use? The cancer cell.
A cancer cell. Yeah.
If you're eating food all the time, it can't do that.
And cancer runs on sugar. Again,
absolutely.
I'm not a doctor, but I think everybody knows
it works the opposite way.
The
cancer will make you want to eat sugar, just like having candida. Candida will make you want to have sugar because it's starving without it. Yeah. So yeah, if you do, one testimony, there were two testimonials I saw in Cole's group. One lady had about a dozen tumors in her gut, and she was doing the dry fasting, and they were excreted when she went to the bathroom. She saw them. They literally came out of her body. They came out in whole, like the cancer tumors. They actually look like a crab, she said.
That is amazing.
They were excreted when she went to the bathroom.
That's insane.
Yeah. And this other lady, she had cancer on her foot. It was like skin cancer or something close to that. I don't think it was deadly, but she had it. She did what Cole said, and it took a few weeks, maybe 6 weeks, and it disappeared. And she filmed her visit to the doctor, which I don't think he was aware of. I don't think he would have allowed it, but she did it anyways.
They hate that.
So the video looks funny, like it's in a book bag somewhere, Yeah,
it's like who's that guy that does all the exposés on CNN? It's one of those videos. Right?
Yeah. So the doctor did the examination, and you could see he was flabbergasted. He just was like, he was like, I don't see, there's no sign of the cancer. What are you doing? And then she started telling him, well, I just stopped eating. And he goes, well, I guess it's working because I don't see any cancer at all. Like you never had it. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Fortunately, I never had it. So
first, I do want to highlight this comment. I cannot. CO pointed out that my head looks smaller when I mentioned my recent weight loss. Thank you, Chrissy. Chrissy, that is very nice of you to say. Ahibone. I haven't seen you in a while, Ahibone. Welcome back. Just tuned in. I've been using intermittent fasting combined with low carb for 2 years, lost weight, and conquered my diabetes.
All right.
Good job, buddy. That's great. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you guys, I've had times where I have conquered my diabetes, and then times where it comes back. And I have found, again, it hasn't been my recent thing, but I have used, thanks to John, Cole's, the fasting protocols that John has used, and I have found it very powerful to heal, very powerful for weight loss, and not as hard as it seems. And
you don't have to go 48 hours. You can eat once a day. Just have less. Like I like to eat a lot of food.
Not so bad. Yeah. OMAD's a good start.
Okay. Yeah. And have a good exercise routine and you'll be fine. And then every once in a while throw in a 48 and you'll be fine. You don't have to do 48s all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, if you're in Privacy Fight Club or if you're in PulseWave Trading, reach out to me or John. We'll give you links to snake diet recipes and stuff like that. I'll try to post it on our Twitter later, as well as in the link to the description. I know it's funny. We're all about trading and cryptos, but I know people are going to be lighting me up about information on this
Well,
snake diet.
ask me for a recipe because I literally
Do you have your own?
I have
Like
a menu. I have a menu that I can use at a restaurant. I wrote the menu, and
Wow.
I'm not a chef. So ask me about my deconstructed hamburger.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Now we're going to be doing cooking shows. I could just see me over StreamYard. We'll be stirring
Yeah.
things and stuff.
So
All right. Well, John, this is a great time. You've been very generous with your time, and we really appreciate you having on. What does John do for dry mouth when fasting? Do you get dry mouth when you fast?
yeah. So there's a couple things. Wait it out. Don't be a weenie.
And you can have the salt water.
Unless you're doing salt water, if you're not, don't break your fast. But you can.
Yeah.
Here's what I do. I'll brush my teeth.
You know, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll do mouthwash or brushing my teeth when I'm fasting, and it helps me tremendously. Yeah,
or just
it's funny you said that because I found the same trick.
Stick it out. Yeah, just stick it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll get past
I found if you're in like a 48, that salt water can become it's not appealing. And I did find just brushing your teeth or rinsing with some mouthwash will get me like another hour of sanity, you know?
Yeah. And when you go to break your fast, like especially a dry fast, a good way to do it is pure 100% coconut water with no pulp, because that is all potassium chloride. It's mostly salts. Actually coconut water is could be used as blood plasma.
Wow. You could literally use it as blood. And that's what the snake juice is, right? It's essentially what it's what's in an IV. It's what keeps you alive.
That's an IV, exactly.
Yeah.
So coconut
it's
water has
from getting overly dehydrated. It's giving you the what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Minerals? Not minerals. Electrolytes. Electrolytes is the word I was looking for.
The coconut water will restore your electrolytes. Now it's only one salt, but it's really good. I mean, so will watermelon.
Yeah.
It only spikes your insulin just a little bit, so you can use it.
And the thing is, you know, one of the thoughts behind the whole fasting protocol is with the snake juice, the salt water, is it enables you to fast longer without getting too severe a headache, without getting too dizzy and stuff like. Because that's what happens. People don't eat for a day and they're dizzy, they're stumbling around, they feel sick. The snake juice can help. And once you're, what I found is once you're in ketosis, it's a lot easier. Ketosis is where your body is running off of fat instead of sugar. Your body is designed to do that. It can switch from sugar to burning fat. And once it does that, in my experience, it makes the fasting a lot easier. Sometimes, and you'll probably say I'm being a wimp about this, John is very harsh and mean and cruel and abusive about this. There have been times when I was gearing up to get back to the fasting protocols because I'm on and off with it. And the week before focused on ketosis so that it wouldn't hurt as much to get into the fasting. So I've done that. I don't know if you recommend that, but I've done it and it does help.
And whatever works. The longer you can fast, the better. At the beginning of the year, I did, and I'm not trying to like do this so I could talk about it. I just felt good. I wouldn't have done this if I feel like I'm struggling. I break my fast and then I start over.
Right. Which is what I was saying before about my buddy. He was saying, if something goes wrong, just start over.
Yeah. So in the beginning of the year, first week of January, I did 2 72-hour fasts. Now I just wanted to do a 72-hour fast. I felt so great. I ate a meal and I did it again, and then now I'm on 48s. But the first 72 hours, it was a dry fast. I figured, what the heck? If I'm going to do 72 hours, I'm going to make it a dry fast. Why not? So here's an example of a dry fast. There are two ways.
Water.
No water. So the second 72 hours, I had nothing, no water or food of any kind. On the first 72 hours, at 36 hours, I took a big bowl and I took 3 cucumbers and I sliced them up and I just flooded them with salt, the pink salt and the no salt, the KCL, and I just salted them heavily. And I ate that whole bowl and I drank a liter of coconut water, 100% pure coconut water with no pulp in 30 minutes. So I didn't break the fast, but it's still considered the dry fast. But in the very middle of it, in a 3-day period, I had the coconut water and the cucumbers with heavily salted.
Wow.
Then the second 72 hours, I just didn't drink anything just because I felt fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to do a dry fast, now if I had cancer, I would do that.
A bunch of cucumbers.
It's a little hack, yeah.
Yeah.
So because that replaces your salts. The cucumbers have all the sodium chloride, and the coconut water has the potassium chloride, and there's a little bit of sugar in there, so it spikes your insulin just a little bit, but it keeps your fast. It keeps you in ketosis. Keep the window down to 30 minutes if you can. and that'll get you through a dry fast.
Yeah.
But again, you can do. So if I had cancer, I wouldn't do that. I'd literally be laying in bed, and I can go for a whole week. I would not drink anything, but I would just lay in bed.
Dry fast.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the key with diseases is the dry fast protocols. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Couple quick comments and we'll go. So Ahibone's 72 years old. This is our guy before was talking about how he cured his diabetes, lost all his weight. He does 36-hour fast 3 times a week. Nice.
Yeah.
And he's Italian. He misses his ravioli. My daughter and I were driving through town the other day, and there's this great coffee shop. We live in a pretty cool town. Nyack has sort of a cool little village feel to it. And there's this hip little coffee place, and right next to it's a restaurant called Ravioli. And my daughter was like, "What? There's a place called?" And she loves raviolis. It's one of her favorite things. She goes, "The restaurant's called Ravioli?" And we found out that it came and went. It opened and closed. Little hip Italian restaurant opened and closed, and she never got to go. And she was like, "It's actually called Ravioli." Like, if you're calling yourself Ravioli, how bad could that bowl of raviolis be?
Yeah.
Although they didn't stay open, so how good could they be?
Wow. Yeah.
All right, John, you're the man. This was awesome. We'll definitely have you back.
Frank.
I know Dex had a great time having you on. And one more time, folks, John and that handsome devil Bill from Privacy Fight Club are going to be doing a webinar at 3 p.m. today. 5 crypto strategies that every crypto holder needs to know. We'll be talking about taxes. We'll be talking about businesses. You know, a few years ago, I was on an interview with Vin Armani, and he said something great. He said, every crypto I ever got, somebody paid me for something. And I thought that was, you're talking about buying cryptos.
Yeah.
One of the things you get into is how to start businesses and stuff. And wouldn't it be great to accept cryptos? A lot of privacy involved in accepting crypto payments. So that's cool.
Yes.
All right, everybody, we're over and out. privacyfightclub.com for John. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe. We find on our YouTube channel, we really need your help. People love the content. We get tons of compliments. People watch every day. Our channel doesn't grow, and we think that there's something wrong with the algorithm. It's throttling us. Dex is very controversial in some of the things that he says. So please share these with your friends. Send videos to people. Help us build the channel organically, because the algorithm's giving us no love, because we see that people are interacting and commenting and all over our content, but the channel doesn't grow, which is obviously something wrong with our algorithm. They must be throttling us. I don't know. I'll go conspiracy on them. But go to PulseWaveTrading.com, PrivacyFightClub.com. 2 great services, and you'll get a lot out of both. All right, we're over and out. Thank you so much, John. Take care, man.
Frank. All right.